Hey guys, what's up? It's Tyler. This being my fourth vlog entry. This one's going to be based on selecting your color selections. Now, there's three main things there's three main dictators for color selection. One being water clarity, two being available forage, and three being like sky conditions. Um, Everything you choose should fall under the first category of water clarity. Then base your other secondary factors like forage and whatnot. But this next thing is something that I believe in. A lot of people disagree with me, but like if the bass are really heavily feeding on shad or any type of minnow type of thing, and you know that like as spring, when the shad are spawning, or in the fall when the shad are really grouped up, I tend to choose based on the forage rather than the water clarity first. Like if it's really dark water, like under a foot visibility, most people will be throwing the blacks or the chartreuses or whatever. I'll tend to throw a white, a white tube rather than anything else, or a white, spinner bait or something like that to mimic the shad first, because I know that they're feeding really heavily on that. Even though, I mean, that's my personal thing. That's what I have confidence in, and that's another thing. Your confidence should be a big role in choosing colors. Just a quick thing, like if you're fishing clear water, you're dragging a pumpkin jig, you're not getting bit. For me, my favorite thing is black and blue, because most times you're fishing stained water. So my thing is black and blue, and that's what I have most confidence in, and I'll throw that in really clear water. And I catch fish with it. I have a lot of confidence in it though. So anything with your main confidence bait, you should choose also, as a fallback type of thing. But so for the sake of argument, I'm going to say that dirty water is under 1 foot of visibility. Dingy or stained water is going to be 1 to 6 foot visibility, 1 to 5 foot, and clear water being anything greater than 5 or greater than 6 feet. Now, for your dirty water situations, you're going to want something that really contrasts that water color and really sticks out. So like your dark purples, black type of thing, that's a good choice. Your reds, chartreuse even, dark blue, anything. Now, what you really want is like a solid color. Not so much like color combinations, but solid colors tend to stick out more. They tend to silhouette more, and you get that bass to key in on your bait. Now, when you're fishing dirty water, the 1 to 6 foot visibility, you're gonna want to choose, pretty much the same general rule. You're gonna want your bait to stick out more, but you're gonna want to use color combinations. Combination of colors. So 90% of the time during this conversation, I'm going to use a black and blue. This sticks out perfectly. It's got everything you want to look for in this type of water clarity. So get your combinations of black and blue. I'll also throw, dark brown and purple. Now this is a peanut butter and jelly type of color. That's a good choice. This Texas rig worm black and with a fluorescent blue. Now those colors will stick out, and you're also your chartreuse and white, blue chartreuse and white, that type of thing. Now those are really good color choices. But anything with a combination of the two colors, you're gonna wanna dictate your choices based on that. Now clear water is when the color selection is really important. You're gonna want colors that are the most natural to the surrounding forage, surrounding cover. So like your browns, your khakis, your green pumpkins, your green orange type of thing, even whites for shad, and chromes for shad. Now matching the surrounding forage is a good thing, and matching the cover. Now the cover being, like, let's say you're fishing a sand flat and you catch a smallmouth or a largemouth, and you notice sometimes that those bass are a lot more pale than normal bass would be, like under weeds or something. Bass and any fish, tend to blend into what they live by. So even their bait fish. So the bait fish will be a lot more pale, sandy type of color than other bait fish, swimming in open water. So I tend to choose like a sandy type of beige, yellow type of color. Now conversely, in heavy weeds, or matted vegetation, stuff like that, the bass in there are going to be really dark, really green. Look a lot like the weeds they're living in. So I like this, green copper type of color. something that really is closely what the weeds look like, just to match in the vegetation itself. So now when you're selecting based on, like available forage, this is more of a clear water type of thing. But like I said, I like to do it based on any type of conditions, based on their feeding activity. But your crawfish colors like reds, browns, and khakis type of thing, even greens, blues when they're really juvenile. Shad being your whites and silvers and chromes, blues. When you're fishing in a lake that has a really high sunfish and bluegill population, you're going to want a bait that's going to be dark blue, dark purples. Even here, this is a good bluegill mimic thing that I found. It's actually more of a pumpkin seed type of thing. It's got the dark green back, it's got the orange underbelly, and then I have this double grub trailer being really light colored, so it's going to mimic the tail. That's a really good mimic of a bluegill. But and also baby bass pattern is really good, especially in the spring and the spawn when they're really highly competing over the nest locations, and sometimes the nest will be there. Fish will see a little bass swimming by, and it'll attack that bass, even if it's cannibalistic. But you'll get bites off a baby bass a lot of times in the spring. Now this is something I do, and this sounds a little weird, but when you catch a bass, let's say you're fishing stained water or something, and you think you're mimicking the right, or fishing clear water, let's say you think you're mimicking the right what they're feeding on. Now you catch it and something's sticking out of their throat or something like that. Well, what I'll do is I'll grab a tentacle or a claw or a fin or something under the tail, and I'll grab a pliers and yank whatever's down there, and yank it out and stick it on my boat. A lot of times it'll be fresh enough where you can see the colors and everything, and the fish is feeding on that because it's in the stomach. So you match your colors based on that, and that works really well. And just adding another piece of the puzzle. Another thing to add a piece, carry variety of different colored permanent markers on your boat. Now that, let's say you're fishing shad and you're fishing just this white tube. Now if you mark a little bit of a little dot like that, like shad have on their backs, and that could mean the difference of catching fish and not catching fish sometimes. So anything like that, just to help your patterns out, stuff like that. So now into sky conditions, and this is primarily a clear water type of thing. You're gonna want to lean towards things that mimic the underbellies of the fish you're feeding on, because you're gonna be fishing with fast. This is more of a thing for fast moving baits, like your spinner baits and your buzz baits and your top waters and stuff like that. You're gonna want to be mimicking the underbelly of the baits. So your blues and whites and blacks are mainly the things that you're gonna be focusing on. So now your whites, you're gonna be mainly fishing when it's overcast conditions in the middle of the day, or little cloud cover during the morning periods when there's a little bit lower of light. Now your blues are gonna be primarily your bluebird skies type of thing, blue chartreuse and white, that type of stuff. Now blacks you're going to want to use when there's a really heavy storm front where the sky is almost really dark, early morning when there's overcast and it's a little bit darker in the low light conditions. You're going to want that underbelly to mainly contrast with to silhouette off of the sky. So and also during night fishing conditions, black is primarily the color you should use it almost every time. That's going to silhouette real nice to the black. They can't really see well, so that's just going to be something that gives it a nice big presentation. Now that's pretty much it for color selections. Now you know kind of the general idea on what you're doing before you choose your baits. So now you know when to apply it and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get going. Keep watching. Thanks a lot for watching. And please ask questions in the comment box. I want to do some videos based on people's questions and stuff like that. So subscribe to my vlog. Write the questions in the channel as well, or personal message me, whatever. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Be back pretty soon. Peace out.